know I know how to make them stop and stare as I zone out. The club can't even handle me right now. Watching you, watching me, I go all out. The club can't even handle me right now.
Okay. Introduce yourself.
I'm Erica Rosalia Artiaga.
Erica, how long have you been at Harpeth Hall?
Since the 8th grade, so this is my 5th year.
5th year. Good. Where is your favorite place in the world? Somewhere that you've been that you just love a lot?
Okay, favorite place in the world? I don't know if it's a favorite place in the world, but I genuinely like any place I go to if I'm with all my siblings.
Oh, that's really nice. That's good. Alright, what is your favorite song?
Okay, this is so lame. No, it's not that lame because, okay, I love 50 Cent and Eminem. Like, I love them. But the one song, if I'm ever, so embarrassing, if I'm ever like in a sad mood or I'm mad or something, if I put on Club Can't Handle Me Right Now by Flo Rida, I get so happy. So happy.
Alright, favorite movie, book, TV show, food, color?
Okay, favorite color is green, favorite food is chips and salsa. Favorite book, The Great Gatsby. Love that book. Favorite movie, basically anything that makes me laugh. So this is also really embarrassing. Talladega Nights, Bound for Kipabi, makes me laugh anytime I see it, and Pitch Perfect.
That's reasonable. That's good. Shows?
I can't. Oh, SNL.
SNL. Yeah. Okay. What is extracurricular that you do that you really enjoy?
Okay, well, there's a lot of them. So in my high school career, I've played 5 sports.
Wow.
Because I'm just mediocre at a lot of them. And I liked a lot of them, but my favorite thing that I ever did my entire high school career was playing all those sports. Like I played soccer, tennis, bowling, track, and cross country. Those were all my favorites.
Yeah. Who have been some people in your life who have been really influential?
This is really cliche too, but my mom, I think, has been the most influential, and though I could never really admit that to her, I don't know why. It's like a pride thing between both of us. I just don't get how she does anything she does. Like, she is the strongest woman I know, and she came from such a different background than I did, and it's so hard for me to understand how she was raised and where she comes from and why she thinks the way she thinks. But in reality, like, though we're so different, we're also so similar, and which is probably why we butt heads so many times, but she's just the one person that will always astonish me with everything she does.
That's so funny. What are some good things about Harpeth Hall? What are some not so good things?
Okay, good things about Harpeth Hall? Well, my favorite thing about Harpeth Hall is the fact that it proved me wrong in the 8th grade. So in the 7th grade, my mom told me that I was going to come to Harpeth Hall, or that we were looking. It was an option. And I went to Frank Road Academy. And I thought Harpeth Hall was a giant estrogen pit. I did not want to come here. I had no reason to think that at all, but I just completely destroyed my chances of getting in. I had to get called in for a second interview because I was trying to sabotage myself so I could stay at FRA. But when I did get here, it completely proved me wrong. Like, I loved it. It took me a little bit to accept that I loved it. And I don't know, I met some of the greatest people I know here. And it just completely proved all of my previous thoughts wrong. Okay, the thing I don't like about Harpeth Hall is probably its closed-minded mindset. I think that it tries to come off as a really progressive school, and it may be, like, in some ways it is, but in really big ways it's not, and it stays with this really closed-minded attitude, and there are just so many things that should be accepted and should be, what's the word I'm thinking of? There's so many things that just, that should be experienced and should be expanded and should just flourish into these whole new things, but I think Harpeth Hall is almost afraid of what could come out of these things and afraid of change and just really traditional and set its ways, and I think if it if it broke from what it thought was normal and traditional, it could just grow into a bigger and better thing.
Okay. What have been some of your favorite moments of high school and why?
I don't think it's one big favorite moment. I think it's just the accumulation of the little things, like, which is so cliche too, but it's true. Like, my friends and I play volleyball a lot, or on the lawn and stuff, and even just like those little happy 20 minutes of completely just acting like idiots, which makes me so happy to think about, and just the dumb little things that happen that you think aren't a big deal, like in the moment. Like one time, Sloan, Hallie, and I were in free period and we made popcorn. This is such a dumb, okay, anyways, we made popcorn, and it was like 2-year-old popcorn. It expired like in May 2011, and we were eating it, and we didn't, like, we were both like, this tastes really bad, but we kept eating it, which was dumb. And then we just almost laughed and we peed our pants, and it's like not funny when I say it out loud now, but in the moment it was so funny. And that's just one of those things where if I'm in a bad mood, like I trigger, or like think about past things with my friends, and it's just those little things that make me happy again. So it's just, those are my favorite moments.
What are some subjects and teachers that have really helped you, you know, develop your views, or just that you really enjoyed?
I definitely have to say Mr. Goodwin and Mr. Springman are the two people that have challenged me the most. Like, I was just in photo 1, but even that, Mr. Goodwin's whole outlook on everything, he just makes you see things with a whole new perspective, and makes you question things that you thought were normal, and he just really challenged you to think outside the box and go outside of your comfort zone. And same with Mr. Springer. Mr. Springer is one of those people that also makes you question, and makes you just rethink everything that you thought, but in a good way. Like, makes you solidify your opinions and really just think of big picture instead of such minute detail things. And they really challenged me.
How have the people at the school changed you and or your personal views, positively or negatively, or both?
I think the people here have affected me positively because they've made me more comfortable with myself and who I am. And because at Harpeth Hall, it's kind of hard to be anyone but yourself, and it's just really taught me to be okay with who I am and to not be afraid of it either, not to be afraid of just being me. And I think it's just like a really positive impact on me.
What do you think for you has been the most difficult part about growing up and now kind of leaving the nest?
Probably the most difficult part is learning to love yourself, and like through the good and through the bad, just remembering that in the long run, the good things far outweigh the bad things that happen to you. And I know it's hard in certain situations, like if you get in trouble or if you disappointed someone, it's hard to think about the happy things, but just remembering that the good is just just like far better than the bad, and that just learning to love yourself through all of that too was pretty difficult, but I think it's one of the most important things to learn.
What do you consider to be your greatest accomplishment, or one of them, and is there anything that you would have done differently?
My greatest accomplishment was playing soccer my senior year, even though I went into it knowing I was going to be JV, like knowing I was going to be on a team with all freshmen and sophomores, but it was hands down one of the best decisions I've ever made. I love those girls. They were so nice. It was one of the just most enjoyable experiences I think I've had at Harpeth Hall. And one of my regrets is that I probably haven't been as open to as many people as I wish I had been, and being senior year, being a fourth quarter senior, it really is hard knowing that you didn't get to know everyone as well as you wish you had. And that's one of my biggest regrets, actually, is not befriending as many people as I could have.
I guess you probably kind of answered this one, but what advice would you give your freshman self?
To my freshman self, well, the same thing, like about how be more open to meet more people, but I would also tell myself to don't care about judgment. Like, it took me a couple years to get past that, but just don't care what other people think about you. Like, if you're okay with yourself, then you're fine.
Good. What are you going to miss most about Harpeth Hall?
Oh my gosh, the people, the whole atmosphere of it all, and oh my god, when I think about leaving my friends, it makes me want to start crying. I think I can't even think about it. Oh my gosh, they're the best thing I think right now. I mean, this is so sad, but no, it's not sad at all. Actually, they're like one of just the greatest people I know, and they always have my back, and they're always like, they're just so supportive, and if anything goes wrong, I can always call one of them, or I don't know, it's going to be really hard next year knowing that we're all not going to be together, and yeah, it's just, I can't think about it, it makes me too sad, it makes me far too sad.
Is there anything else you'd like to say?
Rosie Pascal one day in assembly said, "Don't hide from life," and I think that's one of the best advice I've ever heard from anyone, and just don't hide from life. Don't do it. That's it.
Everyone just said that was beautiful.
God, that was such a cool moment. I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna remember that for the rest of my life. I did it! Okay.